Welcome inside another edition of the Neishloss Podcast, presented by, of course, Neishloss and Fleming. I'm your host, Mike Asti, and I am going to be talking with a friend of mine here, colleague Tom Leix, who is a sales director in Indiana with UnitedHealthcare, about what UHC is doing in the great state of Indiana. And to have that conversation, I will now welcome on Tom Leix. Tom, glad to be talking with you. It's kind of been a long road for us to figure out our schedules and to make this show happen, but definitely glad to have you aboard. Happy we could make this happen. I actually forget the name of it now, but Bill Correa did ask me to ask you about a particular beer. I think he said there's a beer company down there that you and him talk about that has a certain type of logo and
Sun King.
I think
Sun King brand, and Osiris is the particular beer.
Exactly. That's there. Yeah. Tip of my tongue there. There you go. Yeah. So you wanted me to ask you about that. I've been down there. I haven't had that beer though. So when was the last time you sipped on one of those?
They've got a full portfolio, so I'm sure they have something you can find that you'll enjoy.
I am sure. So I'm going to have to partake next time I am down in Indiana. Tom Leix, again, sales director with UnitedHealthcare in Indiana. This is, of course, the Neishloss Podcast. I want to remind all of you, hit that subscribe button, bottom of this video. It'll help us get all of our content to you, and it is free to do so. Whenever we release anything here on this channel, you get a notification. You also want to hit up us on social media. Instagram at Neishloss_Fleming, Facebook, LinkedIn as well, and of course, we welcome you along for the ride that is the Neishloss Podcast and everything else we're doing here on this YouTube channel. So Tom, I appreciate the time, and we now will get into things here. UHC has a well-developed portfolio of plans. UnitedHealthcare, obviously a brand name many are familiar with. They do a lot in terms of what they offer. What are a couple plans that kind of stand out for you that you're expecting to experience growth this year, and why you feel consumers are going to gravitate towards these plans, and why agents need to be aware of these two UnitedHealthcare plans in that Indiana market?
Well, you're going to limit me to two, so you're going to challenge me.
I try to ask the tough questions here on the Neishloss Podcast.
Yeah, it's really different around the state of Indiana. We've got 6 distinct markets.
Okay.
And what we've seen in the past couple of years, our flagship plans in terms of membership have been our premium-based PPOs.
Okay.
Because they've got a few more a little richer benefits across the board, and we've had HMOs in all the markets. But a couple of years ago, we introduced $0 PPOs in Northeast Indiana and Indianapolis, and those are our fastest growing plans for a lot of reasons. And this year, we've added $0 PPOs in every market. So in all 6 markets this year, we've got $0 PPOs. Now, you don't necessarily have quite as strong of benefits across the board, but what we've given up in those plans are the types of benefits that some members have said, you know what, I don't use that anyway, I don't want it. So we've given people a choice and said, look, if you just want to clear your mind and know that you're not going to have a deduction for a premium every month and you've got the benefits you want, those plans are growing fast. And also what we're seeing this year is really the DSNP plan is just growing by leaps and bounds here during AEP. We've enhanced some benefits with a healthy food card. We have no copays on on any of the tiers on drugs. So those things are going well. And really, honestly, from market to market, one plan or another might be the lead. But sure. I think that the things to look out for are definitely the $0 PPOs that now agents in any part of the state, if they're selling across markets, they don't have to think, do I have it here? Do I have it there? It's everywhere.
It certainly makes it even more friendly when you have a carrier like UnitedHealthcare that's willing to adapt and add on. You mentioned adding the $0 PPOs a couple of years ago, and then what's going on with the DSNP route, even a partial dual in some markets. I mean, that's fantastic when you have a carrier like that that's willing to adapt and adjust and enhance things even further here. Tom Leix, sales director with UnitedHealthcare in Indiana here, as we're talking UHC in Indiana. Now, I know I asked tough questions. I narrowed you down to a couple there, and certainly a lot of plans to choose from, a vast portfolio. You certainly can call Tom, his team to really dive into even further with the plan options there in Indiana. But what's a benefit or two? And I'll let you name more than one, but what's a benefit or two that you really feel like agents got to be aware of that really stand out as well amongst this portfolio of plans for UnitedHealthcare in Indiana, and you got to make sure your clients are aware of?
Well, I think a couple that really hit people on a personal level. We are full participants in Medicare's insulin demonstration program. So we offer the $35 insulin on all of our plans, all of our non-DSNP plans in Indiana. So if you're an agent and you're talking to members, you don't have to think, is it on this plan or that plan? We lead the market here. We have it on all of our plans. And the second thing is, a couple of years ago, we came out with a national Medicare network. So our travelers anywhere in the United States can go on our Rally directory and just look up the zip code where they're going. It's a very simple process. And find all the in-network providers, which is essentially our national network. So if you're going to Florida, California, Colorado, Minnesota, you can have in-network benefits. So those are two things that just dominate really all of our plans. But here's the thing that I always try to tell agents. You get through the summary of benefits, the highlight sheet for the benefits, and you hit the big stuff. Here's your MOOP, here's your inpatient, here's your outpatient. Some of the things we do that are, I think, really differentiators is we have no copays on labs that are not a network. Very, very distinct thing. That's huge cost savings, and from a member satisfaction thing, fantastic, because they don't get hit with that surprise out of network lab cost, because it's really hard to know what labs are in network. And so we just took that out of the guessing game. We have no copay on your colonoscopies and mammograms, even diagnostic. So if you have a polyp removed on a screening, that's a $0 procedure. And then if you go in for your follow-up colonoscopy 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, that's a $0 diagnostic procedure. So a huge deal there. Our tier 1 drugs this year, we're locking them in during the donut hole. So whatever your copay is during tier 1, you'll have the same cost during the donut hole on all of our non-DSNP plans. And, we do something different too on dental, like on your preventive dental. Most people have cleanings, but when you get into the senior market, a lot of our seniors no longer have cleanings. They have what's called periodontal maintenance. And we cover periodontal maintenance the same as cleanings, 3 times a year, no cost, no copay. So, those are the things that you don't necessarily, you're talking to members and prospects and you really want to hit the big things. Here's your PCP copay, here's your premium, here's your MOOP. Sure. I always think that the lifestyle is really determined by some of these lesser known benefits. And if you really know your stuff, these are the things that a prospect or a member will go, oh yeah, that happened to me, or that's a differentiator. So I think it's important to get down to those things. And we have more drugs in tier 1 than any other carriers. I think about 85% of our drugs in our formulary are until tier 1. And then the things that are really important today, it surprises so many seniors that, dental's not covered by Medicare. Well, all of our plans have some level of dental in them, and it's very, very important. I think seniors years ago just kind of gave up on dental, and now they know they can get it. And sometimes I think if you started a presentation and the first thing you covered was dental, you might have them. Very, very important. So those, lifestyle is very, very important. Nobody starts the year in January and says, you know what, I think I'll do an inpatient thing 3 times this year. I think I'll do 2 outpatient. What they know is they have dental, vision, hearing, an over-the-counter benefit, gym membership. Our gym membership program, Renew Active, largest in the nation, biggest network in the state of Indiana. If you want to work out, this is the plan for you. So I think we've got a lot of differentiators across the board, and it's kind of proven out over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I do think dental is becoming a bigger and bigger deal, and a bigger and bigger separator among certainly the major carriers, and we're going to get to the competition here in a moment, but there's a lot of competition in your state, as you know. Certainly major carriers all being there, and sometimes offering similar things, but when you get into dental and having that ability to really take care of somebody who does need beyond cleaning, generally speaking, as you get older, and dental health being so important, that can affect your heart. People don't realize what all that can do and the importance of dental. So that's something people are looking for. The years of having to add an ancillary on, et cetera, to be covered there, that's gone. And UnitedHealthcare certainly stepping up their game in terms of dental. So that's a major benefit there. So I didn't narrow you down to just one. I didn't force you to be with just one, because you couldn't hold yourself to just one. There's so many benefits to talk about there with these UHC plans, to say the very least. Tom Leix here, sales director with UHC in Indiana. Now, Tom, Indiana, as we're talking about, they offer a lot of opportunities to independent insurance agents in terms of carriers to work with. There's a lot to choose from for a consumer. It's definitely a Medicare state that there's competition there, to say the very least. What stands out for UnitedHealthcare? Why do people love adding UnitedHealthcare still, besides just the brand of UHC? Because that brand is certainly going to take you a bit of the way, since it's a strong brand now that people are familiar with and they have that comfort. But besides the strong brand, what keeps agents willing to sell UHC, what keeps consumers interested in UHC, despite a continuously growing competition circuit in the Indiana market?
Yeah, you mentioned consumers, and to start with, and I think agents love this, is that we have about a 95% retention rate annually here in Indiana. So members are happy with their plans. We don't do anything that surprises them, that drives them away. But from an agent standpoint, you can go everywhere with UnitedHealthcare. We've got a full portfolio, the Medicare Supplement, the Part Ds, the MAs. We have an MA only now, the Patriot Plan. We have the D-SNP, and in every market we have a premium PPO, a zero premium PPO, and an HMO at least. So you've got the full portfolio. The other thing is, you can go to all 92 counties in Indiana now. There's no surprises or anything that you can't do. Like if I did a lot of business with UHC over here, then I'd have to switch to another carrier over in another market. Nope, you've got us statewide. And that's interesting because a lot of agents have figured out the remote tools. You know, you could be sitting in Northwest Indiana and you could have an agent or you could have a family member or somebody you know down by Louisville, which is southern Indiana, and you could actually enroll them now using our remote tools. So they're very dependable, great tools to have out there. But I'm going to go to something else here, and I think that this is my 14th year going into AEP. I think it helps that, first of all, as a company, we're extremely stable. We have tried to build this logically, consistently, so that whatever we did in 2019, we didn't pull it away in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't buy market share. Let's put it that way. We gradually grew into the market share. But I think something that I feel very strongly about is I have a team of 6 market sales managers, and they're all experienced in Medicare. They've all been here for a while. They're placed throughout the state strategically, and they're the go-to people for the agents if they need help with market intelligence, marketing, training, just learning anything about the back office workings of UnitedHealthcare. We try to make sure that we have somebody who's available to an agent to help them. And I'll go back to when I first got an insurance license. I was kind of between a career that I loved and realizing that career probably wasn't the greatest future career. And I got an insurance license. First thing I did was AFLAC. And I showed up at AFLAC one week and they said, we got a sales training next week. You got to be here. So you go to the sales training to a hotel, and there's about 35 people in the room. And the gentleman who was doing the training said, take a look at the people on the left and right, because in 3 months, 75% of them will not be here.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that. And it was about people who really didn't know how to get started. It was a tough go to get started. But the first time I saw a commission in my checking account, I was like, you've got to be kidding. This is how this works. I can do this as much as I want and make as much as I want.
Yeah, it's worthwhile, right?
Oh my gosh. So, we like to get people off to some sort of success. And because once they experience that, they really feel it. But, our back office work has been good. Agents know that we have personal navigators for a lot of our members. All of our D-SNP members have personal navigators to help them with customer service. We do things like house calls, but let's get to the root of the issue. We're pretty good with commissions. I don't really get any complaints on commissions. We protect AOR. If somebody calls into UnitedHealthcare and through that conversation they say, well, I want to go from the PPO to the HMO or the zero PPO to the premium PPO. As long as we switch them internally, we protect AOR. You don't lose that. And that's a great service during AEP, because instead of driving around seeing all your current members just saying, hey, you know what, like in 3 of our markets, we have a new $0 PPO. Instead of going out and seeing all those people in a plan and saying, you know what, you might want to switch. You can just ask them if they are interested to call UHC, got the customer service number, they'll get moved over to telesales and they'll get enrolled, and the agent of record is retained. So I think the AOR protection is great. And, we're pretty predictable. So there's not a lot of surprises here, and I think people like that consistency. I know agents trust us for it, and that's one thing we like to say is we're not going to ping pong on benefits or anything else. If you have it this year, you're going into the next year, you're probably going to be happy with that book of business.
I do think that is all the benefits of a strong brand. When you have a brand that's been around a while, that has established success, that people have heard of and are comfortable with, you generally also get a solid team, a team that's willing to help out as best they can. You want to make sure you're taking care of the agent and the consumer, and you bring up commissions. That's an underrated part, but certainly a very important part. That's why the agents are in this thing. You obviously want to take care of people and build those relationships, and the commissions will come when you do all that properly, but that's very important. It is a livelihood for people as well. They want to make sure they're taken care of there, and that would get somebody away from a carrier. And then, as we talked about earlier, the plans and benefits, when you are willing to adjust and adapt yourself despite having a brand name that will take you so far, and you will get some people wanting to enroll just for UnitedHealthcare, AARP. But UnitedHealthcare doesn't sit in their laurels. They're so willing to adapt, adjust, make the benefits even better, and make themselves competitive all the way around. So with everything you said and that part of it, that does make UnitedHealthcare that top dog for a reason. Tom Leix here, sales director with UnitedHealthcare in Indiana. Now, Tom, UnitedHealthcare obviously is a successful brand, successful carrier. The plans, the benefits, they all say that. But nothing is ever 100% perfect. There's obviously going to be some challenges to overcome anything. And in terms of selling UnitedHealthcare in the Indiana market, what would you say is maybe the biggest challenge that you still hear, and what maybe would be some advice to overcome that?
Well, we have the highest engagement from agents that we've ever had in the state of Indiana. Okay, that's good and it's bad. It's great for me because I got coverage everywhere. Mm-hmm. It could be a little bit of a hindrance if you're trying to get your foot in the door because there's probably agents working around you. But I'll tell you this. Penetration rates are the highest they've ever been in Indiana. So that means anybody who's eligible for a Medicare Advantage who could get one from us or any of our competitors, it's the highest percentage we've ever had here. But it's going up. So that means we continually have people looking at MA. They might be on MedSups right now or Original Medicare or some other program. But there's more people out there. We are currently at UnitedHealthcare at our highest market share ever in the state of Indiana. We're about 40% statewide now. In the South Bend market alone, we're well over 55%. And it varies. The newest markets for us, Southeast Indiana, Terre Haute, and Northwest Indiana, are our lowest market share. We just haven't been there that long. So I can also point out to people that the farther you get away from a population base, so when you get out into the rural counties, there's a lot more opportunity out there because the Medicare Advantage message just hasn't been promoted as much. You tend to have fewer agents in those counties. And I can basically put on a chart the penetration rate and the number of agents in a county, and they're almost parallel lines. So the opportunity is still out there in some of these markets to make up massive ground in terms of penetration and market share. So I've heard all this year people say, you know what, I'm just not getting anything out of my mailings anymore. People mailing to T65s or DSNP or something like that. I don't particularly think that fewer people are responding. I think more people are mailing. So if I'm an agent, I've got to think of okay, maybe that's a baseline thing. I like to do mail. Well, okay, if you want to do that, that's not going to be the be all end all. To me, and nothing drives this home more than all the washed up quarterbacks doing commercials on TV. You have got to make yourself accessible.
Right.
And what I mean by that is referral, community. We have in the agent toolkit some outstanding referral letters. And if there's an agent who doesn't start AEP with mailing a referral letter to every one of their current members, you're just missing the lowest hanging fruit. That's the best member you can get is somebody who was sent to you because their friend, their parents, their sibling liked you so much and liked UnitedHealthcare that they're turning over to you. But right. I just think that's the first thing in the pipelines. The other thing I would tell agents, and this is hard for some people, you can work 8 to 5. But think about that. You're working the same 8 to 5 schedule everybody else is working. The people that really make a difference in this business are working after 5 and on weekends. We had a gentleman this year through a schedule mistake happened to get meetings scheduled on Saturdays. The month was wrong. The day of the month was right, but when you pushed it to a different month, it put it on a different day of the week. Well, he's had people show up at every one of his Saturday meetings. And why wouldn't they show up on a Saturday? These are a lot of people that we're working with now are working. I mean, a lot of people work till at least age 66 because of the Medicare retirement age now, full Medicare. Mm-hmm. So if you're having a meeting at 6 o'clock at night or on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock or something, that might be a great way to get people to find you that they might not have done that otherwise. But I really think that in today's day and age, if you've got to be, I don't mean obnoxious, you've got to be an outgoing personality. And by that, I mean, if somebody's having a chili cook-off in your neighborhood, you know what, while you're there, you want to drop Medicare a couple times because somebody's going to go, oh, wait a second. I know somebody that needs to talk to you. Those are the types of things that get people ahead, I think. And I really think that's a challenge. With more agents than we've ever had here before, which is a great thing for us as a company, you've got to find that unique thing that you bring to the table and, make sure that people understand that you're in the game. And, like I said, it takes a little bit extra effort because find those fall festivals, find the open houses, different things that are going on in the summer at the market, the Saturday morning, marketplaces in the parks and stuff, put a booth up there. You just have to be out there. You have to put yourself out there. And if you don't enjoy that, people know it. So if you're a people person, I think you'll do well. But I think that's really the challenge is you've got to find ways to make sure people understand what you do.
Listen to the man. Great advice there, Tom Leix, sales director with UnitedHealthcare in Indiana. And yeah, it does take a certain type of personality. It's not for everybody to be successful in this business. It does take a certain type of personality. That entrepreneurship kind of go-getter certainly can thrive in this industry. And while there's competition for UnitedHealthcare as a carrier in the market, there's also competition individually for you, the agent, in the market. And the better the carrier is, if you feel like a carrier is really dominating a market, that means there's a lot of agents that are going to want to sell that carrier, get approved by that carrier, and that's certainly going to create even more competition. Could be great for the carrier. Competition can also breed success individually and motivate people, but it does not make it the easiest road, and it certainly would require somebody to certainly invest their time and do it the right way. And that will also segue, Tom, because you mentioned sending mailers and things like that. Well, here at Neishloss and Fleming, we certainly can help you do that. We do have leads at our disposal. We also have a lot more. We have digital marketing that we can talk to you about. We have a digital marketing company that we work with called Snoozy. I did a past podcast on that. We have the ability to help with creating social media platforms, with creating websites, maintain and post on those. We have an in-house graphic designer who can help you make business cards, postcards, those mailers, even put a billboard up there on the highway, maybe next to that brewery that we were talking about earlier in the show.
Yep.
And we have Medicare Center even has an online enrollment platform where you can use that to look up doctors, prescription drugs, use it as a quote engine, or even take someone through an enrollment. So we have a lot going for ourselves. We certainly appreciate our relationship with UHC. Tom, I appreciate the time. Any final words, whether it be just any more advice that you gave? You gave a lot of tips and tricks there, a lot of wisdom that you offered there with your experience. And then certainly we know that we appreciate our relationship with you guys at UHC for sure in that Indiana market.
Well, I'll just tell you, I appreciate so much about what Neishloss does. And I'll give you an example. I can't remember, this is my 14th AP, so these years kind of run together. But we had a notification maybe 2016 on November 9th that one of the Medicare Advantage carriers in Indiana was going out of business. We were suspicious because of the way things were going, but they had about, if I remember right, about 12,000 members. And I didn't have to ask Neishloss what they were doing. Bill Correa immediately got on the phone and said, Tom, I'm sending 2 guys out there because we're going to help our agents. We're going to take advantage of this. We're going to do this. You guys were proactive, and you've always been proactive. What I know about Neishloss is you're offering agents assistance. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't get anything from this person or that person. And I've never known of a Neishloss agent to complain about getting assistance from the big headquarters office. You're willing to invest, and you got a great staff. I mean, people are willing to jump in. And the other thing I appreciate is, you don't call me and ask me what's going on in Indiana or what the benefits are. You already have an idea because you study that yourself. And that's really, really important. I mean, just doing a podcast like this, helping people get into the toolkit. Oh, my goodness. We have our own data that shows that agents who are in the toolkit are far, far, far more productive than agents who aren't. And that's our portfolio of all Medicare approved advertising and marketing things. And people are shocked when I say, you can get all the DSNP stuff in the toolkit is free. And you can get feather banners to put in front of your practice or your agency. I mean, things like big stuff. Those are, those are almost $400 items if they're on the non-DSNP side, but on DSNP they're free. And there's all kinds of stuff out there. We just last week got approval of a UHC branded yard sign that I sent out to agents over the weekend and said, look, if you want to get these printed at your cost, you can do as many of them as you want. we've now got the yard signs with agent's name, phone number, Medicare questions. I've got answers. You can put you put your own phone number on there, but they're logoed with UHC logo. And I've come across some agents in some other markets that said, one agent said, I've given away 300 yard signs to my clients. When I enroll them, I ask him, can I put a yard sign in your yard? How simple is that? But that's 24/7 coverage for people driving by, and just helping people understand that those resources are out there, and then suggesting they take advantage of them. Because I shudder when agents sit back and think, I just wish I was successful here, but I don't have members drop it in my lap. And you know what? It's all about activity. You guys support it, you promote it, and it's really appreciated on this end.
Yeah, people, consumers, they don't grow on trees, but if you're looking for them, we certainly can help you get them, and we definitely strive to make sure we have the knowledge of a market. We know what's going on in that market. We know what will be successful in that market. We have tons of tools and resources. It wouldn't happen without a relationship like with a carrier like yourself there in UnitedHealthcare, without people like yourself leading the charge. So we appreciate the kind words. We feel like that is our mission. And you mentioned Bill Correa. If we didn't know the market and we were just going off of you and calling you, I think he'd be upset with us as well. So it is all about the relationships, and it is all about doing it the right way. And then, of course, the success is going to come. Tom, I appreciate the time. We had the technology gods grace us here to get through this podcast. We're able to get our schedules to work. We were able to finally make this happen. And I got to get myself down there and enjoy a cold one with you in person. Then certainly off Bill's recommendation. I've been down there before, but I never was at that brewery, so I got to make that happen as well. But we appreciate you joining us.
They were kind of the flagship, but they're one of many now. So
I'm sure.
You point your finger on the map and you'll find one.
I'm sure. Yeah, you're absolutely. Tom, thanks again, man. Tom Leix, Sales Director with UnitedHealthcare in Indiana, as that'll do it for another episode here of the Neishloss Podcast. I want to remind you guys, hit that subscribe button, bottom of this video. It's easy, free to do so, and we'll give you a notification when anything is released here on our Neishloss and Fleming YouTube channel, whether that is another episode of the podcast, Bill Correa's Near and Far. Mentioned Bill a lot here on this show, and then of course Senior Moment or anything else we have left here on the podcast channel and at your disposal. Once again, Tom Leix. I'm your host, Mike Asti. Until we meet again.